Hello, today we're going to take you through a tensegrity training reformers essential class, and our client today is Tracy. So Tracy's going to come in and we're going to start standing at our end of our reformer. So we're going to do a standing roll down into a cat and cow with our hands on the end of the long box. So I've got half a spring on and I'm just going to see how the foot bar is. If it's in the way, we'll move it. So just finding a nice good foot connection under the big toe, little toe in the middle of the heel. So just come into a C curve and exhale here, Tracy. And then as you inhale and come out into your neutral spine and extension, you'll move the box. So it's the movement of the spine that helps to move the box, keeping grounded through the feet. And then exhale, tuck the tailbone under, engage those deep abdominals and curl up just till the carriage comes home. And then inhale and lengthen out again, keeping that awareness of your foot connection and elongating. So if you're tight in your hamstring, this is going to give you a good hamstring stretch. And we're also getting some spinal articulation, engaging those lower abdominals. And also starting to engage our shoulder stabilizers. We're going to be using those a lot today. So we want to be holding the box right from our shoulder stabilizers rather than our upper traps. Let's do two more because this is a really nice warm-up. Inhale to lengthen. Think of lengthening from the heels of the feet to the heels of the hand, and then exhale, curling up. One more time. And then we're going to come out into that extended spine position, just a gentle lift of the head, keeping the feet nice and grounded, engaging those lower abdominals, and we're going to bend the elbows wide and bring the box towards us a little bit, and then right from our abdominals, push the box out. Inhale and bend, exhale and extend at the elbows. Staying grounded in the feet, so you want to feel like you have the weight going backwards a little bit, away from the foot bar, rather than leaning into the foot bar. We're going to do two more. Exhale to straighten the arms, inhale to bend, last one. Good, and then straightening the arms, and when you're ready, you're going to roll all the way up to standing using your exhale. Release the hands from the box, head comes up last. Give the shoulders a roll if that's needed. Okay, I'm going to take the box off and we're going to come into down stretch. So, I'm going to come around and kneel up on the carriage. I'm going to change the springs from that half up to one spring, so just one solid spring. Soles of the feet on the shoulder rest, hands as wide as you feel comfortable on the foot bar. And then we're going to come forward with our hips and our all in one line. This is down stretch, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yes. So a little bit of abdominal rib to hip engagement, and when you're ready, you're going to extend at the shoulder joint. So you're going to push yourself out, flex at the shoulder joint, staying strong in your abdominals because you're coming into a plank. And then you're going to exhale and bring it in. Think about lengthening your heart up away from your knees. Inhale to control the push out, and exhale, work that extension of the arms and the lift of the heart. Inhale to press out, and then exhale to come back in. Keep the feet connected to the shoulder rest and let the knees be kind of heavy on the carriage, just to save too much hip flexor and quad engagement. We want to have that in our abdominals rather than too much. Your hamstrings should be working. We're going to do one more and then we're going to add a rotation. So exhale, coming home, grow nice and tall. And then this time we're going to push out, probably not as far as you have been. Keep one hand on the foot bar and gently rotate through the other arm and your thoracic. So keeping that knee, if you're turning to the right, you're going to keep the right knee grounded and then coming home. So let's do 3 to each side. So we want to keep the torso centered, even weight on both the knees, even weight on both feet, and whatever thoracic rotation you can get in that extended shoulder position. Pressing out and tall to come home. Nice and gentle through the neck. Try not to get too much of your rotation from the neck. You want to think about the rib cage. You want to think about your side lying chest open as we do on the mat. Okay, gently releasing. Bringing the carriage home, Tracy, you can turn around and face the other way. We're going to do some chariots facing the back of the reformer. So short handles, nice and tall. Palms facing backwards, really wide through those collarbones. I'm keeping the one spring on. Tracy's just going to adjust the straps so they are even. So when you're ready, find an exhale. You want to reach down through your fingers as you pull your arms back just a little bit behind the hips, and then control that forward, trying to stay in those muscles on the posterior arm, posterior shoulder as you release the arm forward. You want to keep growing tall and use that exhale. Let's do 2 more. I'm not going crazy strong through the arms. I've got a lot of shoulder work and some single arm work, and that's leading up to our final exercise. So I'm not going to go crazy and fatigue them. We're going to add a head turn. So pull back to where you can hold, gentle head turn one way, and then a gentle head turn the other way before turning your head forward and your arms forward. So we're adding a little endurance now. We're staying stronger in those muscles on the back of the body. And we're just seeing what happens to those muscles as you turn your head. Good, we're going to do 2 more, so that'll be 4 in total of this exercise. Exhale to pull. Inhale, gentle head turn one way. Exhale, gentle head turn the other way. Inhale back to center and release the arms. Last one. Good. And releasing forward. I'm going to take the springs down to a half spring. So just be aware of that, Tracy, the first time you do the pull. We're going to do our chariots in our external rotation. So right up from the humerus, right up into the glenohumeral joint, find your external rotation. When you're ready for an exhale, reach down and pull those arms back and gently release forward. And then you might have to change the springs or even the holding the straps, just depending on your client, because you want to be careful that they're not pulling this from the elbow joint. Think about the humerus pulling back and the hands and the straps are just following the humerus. Good, Tracy's doing a lovely job. You've got to still use those abs, especially in this kneeling position. Let's go 2 more. Exhale and pull. Inhale, release. Make sure the carriage comes all the way home. Good. And gently turn to your left, Tracy. We're going to do our side pull. Side pull open and side pull across. So kneeling close to the shoulder rest will be our side pull open. And I've still got that half spring on. Is that good for you, Trace?
Probably better on a quarter.
A quarter? Okay, I'm going to come down to a quarter spring. Okay. So inhale to let the arm come across towards the shoulder rest.
Sorry.
Is that right?
Side pull across. Here.
We are going to do both. I thought that was open and that's across.
This is across?
This is across, okay. Yep, okay, and that's a good spring. Okay, we're going side pull across, so we are kneeling a little further away from the shoulder rests. As we exhale, we're pulling that arm across. It's sort of like a half hug a tree position. You want to try and avoid those upper traps. So if you need to, the client's arm can be lower, maybe at belly button height, if higher arm means they get their upper traps involved. And in this one, we are using our anti-rotational torso muscles. We're trying to not rotate the torso, even though that arm's coming across the body. Let's just do 1 more. Good, gently releasing, Tracy. Now, slide or kneel a little closer to the shoulder rest, and we will do you want to change up? No.
Side pull
Across. This one's open.
Side pull open, side pull open.
Yes.
On the one side. Yeah.
Yes, side pull open. Okay, so You pull towards the foot bar. Yes, okay. So it's an inhale to prepare, exhale, pull that arm towards the foot bar, and then control the release. Don't let the springs and the strap pull you back. You're almost resisting that pull on the way back. Even weight on both knees. Careful not to lean into that knee that's closest to the foot bar. And again, those upper traps, always have to watch those when we're doing shoulder work. 2 more. Good, gently releasing. Okay, we'll do those 2 on the other side, and you can see what goes on Tracy's back and her shoulders from this view. So side pull across first. Open, you're doing.
Oh, you cross. Yes, sorry.
And your kneeling position is in cross, isn't it? Yes, cross. Good, Tracy's doing a lovely job of staying out of her upper traps, and she's also keeping a close eye on what her wrist's doing. That wrist is in line with the rest of the forearm, like you've got a plaster cast on that forearm and wrist. And that way we're not overusing those wrist muscles. We're using all the bigger muscles on the upper part of the shoulder and the arm. 2 more. Good. Bringing the carriage home, kneeling a little closer to the shoulder rest and swapping hands for our side pull open. Good. We do want a little bit of glute and inner thigh engagement here. So we're nice and strong, helps us get up nice and tall. Good. Tracy's thinking of reaching that elbow towards the foot bar and then pulling the forearm and hand along for that ride, and then controlling that on the way back. I think about 2 more will have us even. Good. Okay, carriage home. You pop the strap down. Okay, we're going to stand up, give the arms a little bit of a break, and work on the glutes a little bit in our scooter, because we're going to need our glutes for our final exercise as well. So we're going to come up to 1 single spring. Okay, closest foot to the reformer is going to come up onto the shoulder rest, and then try and have the thighs about parallel, depending on the height of your client and the reformer. You might have a little bend in the standing leg, but you do want a little flexion at the hips, so they're leaning forward a little bit. That knee is off the carriage. They want to brace through those abdominals, and then using the glutes and hamstring, brace on the standing leg, push with the leg on the reformer, and then control that back in. They can rest their fingertips on the foot bar, but ideally we don't want them to have too much lean onto the foot bar. Ground through the standing foot and really find that other foot on the shoulder rest, so you feel your grounding and your connection through those 2 points. Spine stays the same, and the femur is moving inside the pelvis, so it's trying to stay nice and still as well. We're just going to do 2 more, because we are going to come back and do another set on this side. Good. Bringing that carriage all the way home. Gently release, standing up. We'll go around to the other side. Good, same setup, but this side is going to be different, so the clients just need to be aware of that. They might have to work a little harder this side. They might find it a little easier. They might find their pelvis is a little more tilted this side. So long spine, think of crown of the head lengthening away from your tailbone. You're in your neutral spine, and you're working from your abdominals to extend that leg out, firing up the glutes and hamstrings. Good, 2 more. Good. Bring the carriage home. Gently release. We're going to come back around to the first side, and we're going to add a weight into the hand of the standing leg. So standing on the left leg with the weight in the left hand. So Tracy's just going to do one, keeping the arm still. We're just going to let the arm hang down by the side. So just find an exhale and just push out through the right leg. Inhale and let that right leg come back in. Next time you push out the right leg, reach the left arm forward. And then inhale to return. Again, that right hand can be resting on the foot bar for a little bit of balance. We're adding a little more challenge and a little more movement into the exercise now. And you can take the spring down just if the clients are struggling with this little extra movement. So now we've got a little more focus on what that core needs to do, because we're adding arm and leg extending. Think of your 4-point kneeling, opposite arm and leg extending, and how much work that needs in your abdominals. One more, Tracy. Good. Gently release. Coming around to the other side, feel free to give the shoulders a release, the legs a little shake if they need that. And then finding your position on this side, maybe just one with the leg before you add the arm, and then drawing in from those lower abdominals, like those two limbs are extending from your lower abdominals. You're anchoring from that point. Use your breath. Good. Nice and wide through the shoulders. The other thing you might have to watch is this knee on the carriage. Sometimes it falls in or medially rotates. So just keeping a nice straight alignment from heel through knee to hip. 2 more. Good. Gently release. Okay, I will take the weight and we are going to stand up and do some elephant. So I'm staying on that one spring, and just depending on your client's hamstrings length and also your reformer position, they might have to stand a little further forward if they struggle to get their heels right back on the foot bar. But we're going to have nice wide shoulders and not much weight on the hands. Tracy could take her hands off the foot bar and not fall. And then we're going to find an inhale and take the carriage and your feet back, not too far. And then exhale, drive the heels down, draw up through the abdominals and pull the carriage all the way home. Now, clients struggle with this one a little bit because their body weight comes forward when they pull their feet back in. So I often just gently come to this position, and as they bring their legs back in, I just gently push on them so their tailbone is lengthening over the heels away from the foot bar. So make sure they're drawing up through the abdominals but lengthening down through the heels to draw that carriage back in. 2 more. Good, bringing that carriage all the way home. Making sure it's home as you release. Bend your knees a little. They can come all the way down. Good. Okay, we are going to turn around and do our rowing, back rowing. So feet are going to go through, or thighs go through, calf muscles go through the shoulder rests. You want the one spring?
Yeah, one spring or half, either. One spring, it's on, is good to keep it there, I think.
Yep. So we're going to stay on that one spring. Just keep an eye on your client's shoulders because this is a lot of shoulder work. So we're going nice and tall, bending the elbows, bringing those fists into the heart area. It's an exhale to start to articulate the spine and roll down, especially through that lumbar spine, lengthen out through your feet. It's an inhale to try and keep the carriage still and straighten at your elbows. Maintaining your C curve, find your exhale and come up in your C curve. Keep the carriage still as long as you can, and then reaching forward and pulling back. Turning the arms in the shoulder joint. Bending the elbows, growing tall, articulating up to where you started. So I'll talk a little more through the breath this time. Exhale to curl back. Inhale, extend the arms. Exhale, C curve forward. Inhale, sweep the arms back and up and over. And exhale, stack the spine back up to where you started. Good, and again, exhale to roll down, lengthen out through the feet. Good. Feel like you extend your arms from your lower abdominals, so you're nice and strong there. Exhale and C curve up. Reach the arms forward. Pull them back, working in the shoulders. Exhale, stacking up nice and tall. Cool, we've got 2 more. Good, really find that C curve as you come through this point. And then reaching out, think about reaching wide through the arms, not necessarily high to the ceiling, especially if we've got any shoulder restrictions. Last time. C curving, pulling those arms back as you C curve to try and keep the carriage still for as long as you can. Good, nice work. Let's pop the straps down. Okay, we are going to work through our control balance front or our reverse plank now. And we're going to do the one that's in the manual, and then I'm going to show you a little option, especially if clients have any wrist issues or if they find it a little precarious, popping their feet up on the foot bar. So make sure you start with your knees on the carriage, hands on the shoulder rest, and then Tracy's just going to find, I'm still on that one spring too, that one full spring. Tracy's going to pop one ball of the foot up on her. Do you go from your knees or do you stand up?
I can stand up, I can show both ways.
Yeah, okay, that's right. I was just going to. So you can stand up and extend and then bring your hips down and get nice and long, reaching crown to the heels. And then it's an inhale to move the arms a little forward, and then exhale, pull them back. You're working from those armpits right through your rectus abdominis, staying in that one lovely line. Glutes are a little active to help keep the femurs lifted, and the pelvis. The pelvis is quite a heavy area of the body. Last one. Good. Carefully bringing one knee down at a time. So we'll just go through how to get into this position from your knees on the carriage, just as another option. So finding one ball of the foot on the foot bar. This foot bar's a little high. And then if you push out, I think the carriage, so if you push, yes, then go from there. So now you take the weight into the 3 points and you can extend that other leg with a bit more support, and you're already in position with your hands under your shoulders. Good, just one more. And then lowering down. And then if Tracy hops up, I'm just going to put the foot bar, not the foot bar, the box up in our short position. And I'll just move the foot bar out a little bit. Tracy's going to put her knees on the carriage, elbows on the box, and toes over the wooden end of the wooden frame of the reformer. I'm staying on that same spring, that single spring. So elbows on the box, toes just curling over the end of the frame, And now in this position, we can break the exercise down a little more. So we can just start with floating the knees, like your 4-point kneeling, knee floats or knee hovers. And if your clients are beginners, that's where they could stop for today. If they feel comfortable, they can start to straighten their legs and come out into the plank position. So you're extending at the knees and hips, and that's your plank position. They can hold there and do the little extension, flexion extension at the shoulder joint. Or if they feel that's a little too strong, they can bend their knees and come back home again. Just one more of those. And then bend the knees, bring the carriage home, rest the knees down. Now I'm going to show you our plank to pyramid here in this position. So we're going to go from, when you're in your plank position, you're obviously in your, what's that called, that position? Half. So a right angle flexion at the shoulder, and then when you go up into your pyramid, you're going to go further into shoulder flexion. So Tracy's going to engage those abdominals, float the knees, and then push out, keeping the elbows under her shoulders initially. And then using those abdominals and an exhale, bring the hips nice and high, coming into pyramid position, letting the head drop down, and you coming into further shoulder extension, flexion here. And then lowering back down, control the lower, and bring the elbows right back under the shoulders. Lengthen the heart forward without dropping the torso. Exhale, hips up, head lowers down, extend the elbows right into the box. And then inhale, flowing back down, lengthening out. Exhale, hips up. Inhale, back out into our plank. Just one more. Good. And then to release, you're going to bring those knees down to the carriage. Release the elbows from the box. The shoulders are roll. Okay. We're going to finish with our Mermaid and Mermaid with rotation, because we haven't done any lateral spinal flexion through this session. So we'll do a little bit of that and also get a nice stretch. Release. Would you like it on one full spring? Mm-hmm. Yep, we're going to leave it on one full spring. Tracy's okay with that in her shoulders. So finding your Z-sit, and again your Z-sit is optional depending on how your client's hips and knees are. And inhale will raise your arm away from the foot bar, and then exhale will gently push out, laterally flexing the spine. Inhale nice and deeply into those exposed ribs, and then exhale, coming back up nice and tall. Inhale, lengthen through the torso as you lift the arm, and then exhale, finding that lateral flexion. Inhale, nice and tall. Let's add the rotation to the next two. So same process, up and over, and then as you rotate, be mindful to keep this hip grounded and really open through the back of the thoracic, and then come out of that rotation and up out of your side bend. So keeping those two movements separate, especially on the return. Good. Hugging up through those abdominals. It's almost like a C curve in your spine here to get as maximum stretch out of your back, but also to engage through those abdominals. Let's turn around and do those on the other side. You can do that counter stretch before you pivot. So just checking that hand position on the foot bar too. Just make it a little in front of the shoulder just to protect the shoulder. So inhale, lengthen the spine, raise up through the arm that's away from the foot bar. Exhale to side bend, opening through those ribs, keep dropping down through the hip, and then using your obliques to come back up again. Inhale for some length. Exhale, keep that length as you side bend. We're not collapsing and side bending, we're keeping that long. Rotating with the next two. And you might just help your client by encouraging the hip to stay still, but the ribs to roll forward on that side that's away from the foot bar. The last one. Lengthen up and over. And you don't want the springs too heavy that they feel like they need to push out from their upper traps. We want the movement of the spine to move the carriage out. Tracy can do a counterbalance stretch here now. And that's our Reformer Essentials session without any supine, so we didn't lay down through that session today. Thank you.
Thank you.